The escalation trap, a phrase made popular and coined by Professor Pape, who is making the rounds on social media and the news ever since the start of the Iran war because his entire thesis, his entire class is around modeling an invasion of Iran. And in this case, we have a conflict with Iran, and through his analysis, we are in a certain period of his escalation trap where the U.S. has to make a decision: either leave and turn over control to the Strait of Hormuz to Iran, thus elevating them to almost a global power, or do a full-on invasion where we lose thousands of American lives and tens of thousands of Iranians' lives as we invade yet another Middle Eastern country. And here is why Professor Pape is going to be wrong, because he presents a dichotomy, a fallacy of two choices when there is a third option. And we are currently seeing that third option unfold, and we have been for many weeks, but many just don't want to listen or understand what is currently happening. And what we are doing is blockading Iran from doing any kind of business anywhere at all. And we have also minimized their military capability to the point where we can actually open up a southern corridor in the Strait of Hormuz, where we have been moving ships out approximately 10 or so a night, because Iran simply can't detect them. They can't see them, they can't stop them, and they're being escorted by the U.S. Navy. And we're escorting enough ships that amounts to approximately 10 to 16 million barrels of oil a day. And so, because of that, and along with the other mitigations through Saudi Arabia, we are able to at least get more oil out than previously before. And this is just a part of the boa constrictor strategy of just slowly pushing Iran away from the strait, slowly encapsulating them into their own country where they can barely do any kind of business or military activity at all. But don't tell Professor Pape that. He will tell you that there is a significant threat to the Strait of Hormuz that the U.S. just can't contend with, and it's called the Shahed drone. Just listen.
We are in some serious trouble, and we are heading toward even more trouble. And what I want to focus on today is the core issue. I believe it's the $64,000 issue underneath the diplomacy and also the midterms, which is, does the United States have a military option that can open the Strait of Hormuz substantially before the midterms?
He then goes on to talk about the core issue the United States faces in the Strait of Hormuz is the Shahed drone and scale. And then he displays a slide showing a comparison between a Shahed drone and a king-size mattress as far as size of the weapon, and then he goes over its capabilities, the explosive that it carries, its range capabilities, which I believe were upwards of 500 miles. He then states that there are thousands of these drones and that they can be launched from anywhere. And then he displays a range fan based off of the Strait of Hormuz of where the drones could be hiding. And it was comparable to 1.5 the sizes of the state of California. He then displays a third image where he shows the third dimension with regards to scale and uses the Empire State Building as an example, and states that upwards of, I believe, 11 million Empire State Buildings could fit into this area, and that a Shahed drone could be hiding on any one of these floors. Basically, his argument is that they could be hiding in any of the mountain ranges, anywhere in this area, and this is just fundamentally untrue. And this also shows why he lacks a sufficient level of knowledge as it relates to understanding military capabilities, limitations, and he has never held a clearance, and he's never been an intelligence analyst in the military. And so I will give him a little pass on that, but he is presenting this argument with undue confidence. It's not warranted, and yet he is trying to sound exactly right, and he's spreading this false information everywhere. And so that third option that Professor Pape has not talked about at all is simply removing the importance of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, obviously, easier said than done and will take years to accomplish, but that is the current trajectory on which we are executing, and it is the success of that will unfold over weeks, months, and even years. And what that allows the U.S. to do is to continue to suppress the IRGC to the point of irrelevancy and a possible collapse, while also maintaining the global oil markets to a manageable degree. And most importantly, the loss of life, the loss of American life, will be minimized because we won't have to send in ground troops. We won't have to invade them traditionally like we would have and decimated them that way, which is what a lot of naysayers, a lot of those people that don't like Trump want to see happen for some weird reason or another, maybe because it would look bad for him politically. But that's just a really sick way of looking at it. On top of that, Professor Pape also says that something must be done before the midterms. Otherwise, what? The Republicans will lose, or Trump will lose his ability to conduct warfare? Neither is necessarily true. Republicans could lose the House, and Trump could still execute warfare per Article 2 authorities. Or the Republicans win the House, maintain control of Congress, and further along Trump's presidential agenda for the remaining 2 years. Both are possible outcomes at this point. So there's no deadline like he is speaking of. Trump is basically giving the Republicans an opportunity to win their House seats and maintain the Senate while he conducts this new economic warfare.